Hello, everybody, and welcome into another exclusive interview presented by Garnet Trust. I am Kendall Smith, joined alongside of Hanna Barton. She is on the South Carolina swim and dive team. She specializes in freestyle and butterfly, and she is out of Land O'Lakes, Florida, out of Sun Lake High School. Hanna, thank you so much for joining me today. I know you're busy, so it means a lot that you're here, but how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. So I want to get into everything with your athletic career. I want to talk about you a little bit too, because you're the very first swimmer that we've ever had on Gamecock Central and on a Garnet Trust interview. So you get the award of being the very, very first. And I know a lot of people are going to be excited to hear from you, but I want to kind of take it back to the start of your career in college. You weren't able to compete your first year because you had an injury. So I kind of want to start there, talk about how you overcame that, and then how you've gotten to this point in your career. You're now a junior where you're doing so well.
So definitely I would say my college career did not start how I expected it to. I did have a neck injury the beginning of my freshman season, so I had to take a medical red shirt. But I'm actually very thankful that I was able to go through that my freshman year because I feel like it taught me a lot about being a teammate and also just like how special it was to be a part of this university in general. I think just having the chance to step back and like I wasn't necessarily competing, which is what I wanted to be doing. I was able to just take in and realize how special like everything else around me was, whether it was like my coaching staff, the support I received from the student athlete staff here, academically and medically as well. And also just like faculty, students, and like specifically my teammates. So I think just being able to like rely on all of that and have that be priority my freshman year really showed me I made the right decision by being here. And it definitely gave me like a new sense of motivation. So after my freshman year not being able to compete, I just knew that, and COVID hit right at the end. And so it actually gave me a really good reset to go home and kind of just put my head down and train and try to get into the best shape that I could for when we came back at the beginning of my sophomore season.
So, training in Florida growing up, I have to ask, did you always kind of get to swim like outside, or did you go in indoor pools a lot? Like, with it being so hot there, I'm sure it's the ideal place to train if you're a swimmer.
Yeah, I swam outside ever since I started my swimming career. And so it definitely was different coming and having trained indoors. But no, I loved training outside back in Florida. And yeah, it was definitely ideal.
So you do both the freestyle and then butterfly. Which of those two strokes do you like competing better?
I would say I like competing butterfly better, but I enjoy training it, but I also train probably more freestyle than I do butterfly because it's kind of like the basis of our swimming training in general. But I definitely enjoy competing butterfly more. I feel like it's an easier stroke for me to race for sure.
And I'm so impressed that you're able to do anything involving swimming. I am not a good swimmer. I'll be like the person dog paddling around the pool. I can like barely do a freestyle stroke. My parents got me swimming lessons when I was younger, and I was just never good at it. So I've always marveled at swimmers and how talented they are, and I love watching it in the Olympics. And speaking of the Olympics, I feel like that's the time when swimming is just really at its highest peak. A ton of people watching it, and you get to see the personalities of a lot of swimmers, whether that's Michael Phelps or Lily King or whoever it might be. So, Hanna, when you're competing, do you think that you have a certain personality, a certain mindset that you get into before you race?
I wouldn't say that I have someone in particular that I kind of like try and channel. I would say I definitely have certain athletes that competed at that level this past summer that I really look up to. And I try to kind of just remember their journey whenever whether it's in training or going into a meet and seeing how they carry themselves and the progress that they made in the sport. I would say that I definitely try and like remember that their journey in that aspect to kind of like as motivation for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to ask you, I know you don't get a lot of time off and you're constantly training and competing and working, But when you do get time off, if you ever go to the beach or go with your family on like an island vacation, you're kind of in a unique spot because you can actually like train maybe a little bit and swim. So do you go out and do you practice even when you're on vacation at these sunny places?
Yes, I mean, we really don't have very much time during the year that we are off. And even when we are in vacation, most of the time it's expected that you're maintaining your training, or at least what we like to call like your feel for the water. And I'm someone like I just enjoy being in the water in general. And so even if I am on vacation, even if I'm not required to train, I do find myself just kind of like splashing around, whether it's like in the ocean or like at the pool, because I do enjoy like that feeling of just kind of like being in the water and being present in that. And so I would say definitely like it's nice to be able to have like a little piece of your sport even when you're on like vacation.
Yes, I was a figure skater all growing up. So whenever I would go on vacation, usually there wasn't a rink around. So I definitely envy the fact that swimmers, when you guys are on these nice vacations, you can just hop in the pool and do a few laps. And like you said, maybe keep up that feel for the water. But I have to ask, because you're on the swim and dive team, I know that you specialize obviously in swimming, but have you ever tried to get on the high dives and dive off?
Yes, so I actually was a competitive gymnast for 8 years before I got into swimming. And I got into swimming when I was in high school. And whenever I did that, my high school team was first like, we want you to be a diver. And I tried one dive practice and it went horribly. It was the last thing I wanted to do. And so I have so much respect and admiration for the divers on our team. They are so incredibly talented. And I just look at them every time, whether it's in practice or competition, and I'm like, wow, I truly don't know how you do that, especially because I get kind of like the air awareness that they have to have and the mentality that they have to have. But I tried that diving board one day and I was like, nope, not for me.
I do not blame you. Like I said, I couldn't imagine doing any of it. So major respect goes out to the entire swim and dive team at South Carolina and every swimmer and diver out there, because I genuinely couldn't. But you're a junior this year, like you said, you took a medical red shirt your freshman year. For your last couple of seasons of college swimming, what are your goals for yourself, Hannah?
So I think, as I mentioned, like my athletic career has been not what I expected it to be. And it's been very unconventional, both from like my freshman year being injured, last year dealing with COVID, we had very minimal meets. And this year we have a whole new coaching staff. And so it was a really good chance to kind of like adjust to a whole new training and a whole new mentality. And it honestly got me really excited and motivated for the next couple of years. I have quite a bit of eligibility left. I'm not sure yet exactly how long I'll be here, but I do know that I feel like that there's a lot of potential left for me in the sport. And I don't really have any particular goals when it comes to like a time I want to go, or a place that I want to get, because we talk a lot all the time that like it's kind of the process that matters. So I think just continuing to grow as a swimmer and as a teammate the next couple of years, and continuing to make the progress I'm seeing, both physically and mentally as an athlete, I would say is my biggest goal these next couple of years. And obviously to continue contributing any way that I can. But I'm really excited to see what kind of the next few months brings as we get into another period of just like hard training, and see the progress that myself and my teammates make.
And like you said, it is a really exciting time right now in the world of sports, not only with what's going on with swim and dive, with other sports at South Carolina, but also in terms of NIL. And that is actually how we're able to do this interview today through Garnet Trust. So, Hannah, just give me your thoughts on Garnet Trust and the impact that you think it can have on student athletes at South Carolina.
I think it's an incredible opportunity. I mean, from whether it's athletes that are trying to benefit from being able to finally use their name and their image, and with like signing different things for people or interacting with fans, or like we saw through you guys setting up community service opportunities where you're going out and you're being a part of the community and able to do that through these new NIL deals. I don't think people really can grasp just how big it is. because not only is it for, these star athletes and these big revenue sports that maybe want to go out and make money, get a new car, but it's also these smaller athletes, and even at smaller schools, they can use their other hobbies like art and music, and they can use their name and their image on their art and their music, and they can make money off of their passions now, along with being an athlete. And so I think it's any opportunity that they have to be able to do that is incredible. And I think it's a really, really big step forward for college sports in general.
Well, we have loved having you as our first swimmer as a Garnet Trust interview. It's been so much fun, and I always like to end off these interviews doing some rapid fire questions with my interviewees, so that way our listeners and our viewers can get to know you a little bit better. So are you down to answer some rapid fire questions, Hannah?
Yeah, of course.
All right, perfect. So first one is, would you rather go watch a sunrise or a sunset?
Sunrise, for sure.
Good choice. Good choice. I agree. If you could travel anywhere in the entire world, where would you go?
I really want to go to Greece. That's a
Okay.
big bucket list item of mine.
I feel like a lot of people say that one, and it's definitely a good one to pick. Whenever you have an off day, I'm sure they're few and far between. What are your favorite things to do?
It's going to sound funny, but I love hanging out with my teammates. It's nice to be with them outside of the water. Just like watching Netflix on the couch is our favorite thing to do.
If you were out with your friends and you got up on the stage to sing karaoke, what is your go-to karaoke song that you could just crush in front of a crowd?
It's either going to be Thrift Shop or honestly, like any Taylor Swift song but only from like the Speak Now album in particular.
Yes, no, for sure. I love how you had such a quick answer to that one too. Usually when I ask that one, people are like, but like, I love how you had a quick.
Oh no, my teammates know that's my go-to.
That's awesome. If you could pick any spot for the Summer Olympics to be at, where do you think the perfect location is?
I mean, I'd love for it to be anywhere in America, just because like selfishly, I'd want to be able to go and watch or be a part of it in any way. So I would say like, I know Los Angeles, but yeah, Los Angeles.
Yes, Los Angeles Olympics coming up in 2028, I believe.
Yes, exciting.
Just off the Winter Olympics, then we've got the next Summer Olympics coming up as well, which I think are in Paris. So that'll be a ton of fun. But Hannah, thank you so much for joining us on this interview with Garnet Trust. It was a pleasure to have you, and we just wish you all of the best as you finish out your college career on the swim and dive team at South Carolina.
Thank you so much.